what's up you guys, the Curious Owl here, and today I'm going to essentially be starting a new series on this channel. This is a series that I'm going to be updating about once a month towards the beginning of the month, but I started thinking about this earlier this week, which is why it's coming in like the middle towards the end of February really right now. And as you guys can tell from the title, this is going to be my first writing vlog. So I've been seeing a lot of people on BookTube really do this lately, and I think it's so inspiring because it really goes to show that a lot of fellow booktubers are also fellow writers, and I've been a writer for a long time. Many of you may know I've been working on a novel for the last several years, and as of recently, it's kind of been at a standstill. And the reason is because I just haven't had the time to write, but I am really making it a priority in 2018 to continue working on it at least about once a week during the weekends when I have the availability, because I really want to get this novel done within the next couple of years, just because there's so much that's involved with it, and it's been a passion project of mine since I was a senior in high school. And I also have a second writing project that I decided to start working with last semester that I'm very excited about, but I think that one's going to be a little harder to do as it is not particularly my strongest aspect, but I was really inspired to work on it last semester after taking a class for creative writing, and I really think that I can make something of it. It's going to take time to really develop it. So the first project I'm going to tell you guys about is the one that I have been working on the longest, which is my mystery novel. So to give you guys a bit of a synopsis, this is not exactly a young adult, but also not exactly an adult novel either. I don't exactly know what the middle ground is there between young adult and adult, but it is a mystery novel, and it focuses on a woman named Mara Porter, who is an FBI agent who has been chasing this serial kidnapper and killer for the last 6 months, and they don't really know who he is. He leaves very little traces behind as to his identity or who he could possibly be. And luckily, one day they do find a photograph that has a blurred image of someone hiding in the background of one of the crime scene photos. So they think that this is this man, and they're really trying to go on the hunt for him, but it's becoming impossible to find him. The novel's actually split into 3 different perspectives. The first obviously being Mara's, as she is our actual cop. Then we also have the perspective of our actual suspect, who is the one that is actually kidnapping and killing different individuals, and there's a lot of backstory with him as to why he does it that I've actually had a lot of people tell me is really captivating, but also very scary at the same time. And we also have a perspective from one of the victims that is actually kidnapped by this man that essentially is trying to escape and try to find help for these other people that are also kidnapped with her. So the real novel is split up between these 3 stories, and part of the reason it's been at a standstill as of now is because I haven't had the time to write it. But last semester I really worked with it in one of my classes that I had. I had a fiction writing course that was mostly workshops, and I had brought in the first several chapters of it that had been finished, I thought, at that point, and a lot of people were telling me some really great feedback that I thought was helpful in developing my story. And then I decided that I wanted to have a whole new plot line put into the story that definitely brings out the story a lot more, but also possibly leads to a second book. So the second plot line really is more so delving into Mara as a character and a lot of her motivations, and it also talks a lot about something that happened to her when she was a young girl that basically made her want to become an FBI agent in the first place. And the reason I really wanted to incorporate it is because I felt that there was something missing about her character that I wanted to really explore as to why she became an FBI agent in the first place and why she is so hell-bent on finding this kidnapper killer guy. I also though wanted something to be kind of as a distraction for her, because any good cop story I've seen in the past has had the main character be really distracted by something in the background that ultimately is what extends her story. And so I really wanted to incorporate that, and I found a really great way to do that, and it just hasn't been able to be fully developed as of yet, which is why the novel's been kind of stuck. But as of now with this project, I'm in the process of outlining the whole novel, including the new plot line. So basically it's a restructure of the whole novel. I'm gonna have to not exactly rewrite everything, but I'm going to have to restructure the way that my story is told instead of just splitting it between the 3 perspectives evenly. I think there's gonna have to be more time spent with Mara as a character, as she is essentially our main protagonist, but I still do like the fact that I'm splitting up the perspective between the kidnapper and one of the victims, because it's an important way of delving into the story. But I think that if I was to continue this into a second book, I think I will focus it again on Mara, but then also, you know, somebody else that is delving into her life that is causing a new case. I don't know exactly at this point if it's going to be more than 2 books. The plotline that I had incorporated is definitely going to extend it into at least a duology, but I do not know at this point if I'm going to continue it past that, because I was really heavily inspired to write this series because of James Patterson's Alex Cross series, but that is a 25 book series, and I do not think that I have enough to really make Mara that big of a character to where I can extend it to 20 books, but I will be very proud of myself to even extend it to a duology, because that is in itself very difficult, I find, for a lot of authors to do. So my second project that I've decided to work on is definitely going to be very hard for me, as it is not my particular field of expertise, but I definitely feel that last semester I grew a lot in terms of my writing abilities, because I started taking a poetry class on campus, and it was another creative writing course that I actually had to take for my major, and so I got really inspired in that class to actually write poetry a lot more often, and I've definitely felt that I made a lot of growth in terms of my writing abilities with that. I was actually really inspired by one of the poems I wrote about someone that I love, into creating a chapbook about poems that are about the women in my family who have helped to raise me and make me the person that I am today. I don't know exactly all who is going to be incorporated in that. I do have a couple people in mind, but that's essentially the basis of this chapbook, and I'm very excited because I have a lot of friends that I think would be very helpful in helping me to really hone in my poetry abilities, as it is not, like I said, my particular area of expertise, but I have a lot of people that I know I can fall back on to really help me with developing it, and I have a lot of great ideas in terms of the poems I want to write. I think it's just going to come down to actually sitting down and writing it, and then honing the poems into what I want them to be in order to effectively talk about these people in my life that have really made a huge impact on me. It's definitely going to take a lot of time. I think it's going to basically be on the back burner for quite some time. I'm going to try to take time each weekend to focus at least a little bit on one of the poems, but I think it's definitely going to take more of a back seat compared to my novel, as my novel has been the one that I've been really striving to get done. But as I said, I will be making sure to at least make some kind of progress with one of the poems, whether it's writing it or taking another look at it and see like what I can do to, you know, make it better, or honing it in, or maybe shortening it or lengthening it, or whatever really seems to strike me, because I definitely felt that last semester taking my poetry class that I found some great techniques to help me with really condensing my poetry, but also making it still very impactful and very important. And because they're poems about the women in my family, I still want them to be accurate, and I still want them to really express the emotions and the feelings that I have for these women in my family, as they all have such a huge importance to me. So the way that I'm basically going to be tracking my progress with both my novel and my poetry book is I've started my own bullet journal, and basically it's not only got my writing stuff in here, but it also is helping me track my reading progress of each month, kind of what books I'm reading for what purpose, and also helping me keep track of some of the videos ideas that I have for the month and seeing if I actually get them done or if I have to push them off until another time. And it's been really, really helpful so far. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me in this first writing vlog of 2018 for me, and I hope you guys are excited to kind of follow me on this journey. I won't really ever give you many details as to what is going on in the book, because I don't want to spoil you guys for what is to happen, but I may tell you guys kind of where I am at in the story in terms of the timeline and in terms of kind of what exactly is like the setting and stuff like that. I might give you guys some details with that, and maybe little bits and pieces about the characters. Just kind of let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll let you guys know what I can without spoiling too much of the story. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock, and I will see all of you guys in my next video.